of our Power BI and Fabric bootcamp. So we've been on Power BI now for a while, and it has been interesting. We've learned some of the basic stuff we need to know in Fabric, sorry, in Power BI. And we have some guest speakers who are going to talk about some special topics. I know some of you might not be familiar well with Fabric for now, but don't worry about that. It's okay. Uh, as time goes on, we are also going to start doing some Fabric stuff. And today we have a special guest. His name is Jakub, and he's from Poland. And Jakub is currently working as is a data and AI strategy advisor at APN Promise. He's also the founder of OneWayTickets.tech, and is a co-organizer of Future Conference in Poland. And Jakub has worked as a technical solution specialist with Planet in Dublin, and some other companies like Limitless Technologies, and the rest. He has a master's in information. Is it information science?
Yeah,
Yeah,
hello.
information science. I think from University in Madrid, right? And
Yeah,
also Warsaw University of Technology. Yeah, and he also some certifications like the Microsoft Certified Azure Data Fundamentals. He has certification as a professional data engineer from Google. He has certification in Azure AI Fundamentals, and some other certifications like that. He's also a Microsoft Certified Power BI Data Analyst, and today he's going to talk to us about how to reduce your capacity usage in Microsoft Fabric and some of the best practices. Thank you so much, Jacob, for coming here today. We are hoping that it's going to be a very interesting section. Thank you. You have the floor now.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. So yeah, that's the topic of my presentation. And as far as I understand, you are not really. It's kind of bootcamp which you organize, like covering many different topics. And as I understood, you are not familiar with Fabric yet, right? So maybe we will do like 2 minutes introduction, like what Fabric really is. What do you think about it?
Yes, it's okay. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So really briefly about myself, as you mentioned, um, I live in Warsaw in Poland, and who am I? I'm a champion. That's a small joke which I wish to show you. I hope you have good mood today. And additionally to that, what you said, there is one project which I currently do, which I'm really proud of. With my girlfriend, we have created AI process analysis assistant, which is called Nova AI. So, and we are currently developing that solution with my girlfriend, who is a business analyst in UK. So, if you are interested how it can work, how you can actually check processes in your companies, if it's small, medium, or even big company, I'm really open to share it with you. Actually, right now we are looking for some testers right now who would check like how our application works, if it's useful or not. I think it is because many users says us that that's what they usually needed to spend like 3 days on trainings. With our assistant, they get the same results in just half an hour talk. So yeah, so just you can add me on LinkedIn. Here you have a QR code and the name of my LinkedIn. Please go ahead, add me to contacts, and I will share it with you. Despite that, I'm also a big fan of notebook stickers, so I made a few of them. I can also share them with you. Here you have the title one, the fabric, but in this ecosystem of data analysis in Microsoft, there are many different technologies. You can see here, for example, the the SQL the SQL Server, which is always the basic, of course, Azure, which always Fabric is run on. We have Copilot, which is definitely the new rising star in this environment and ecosystem of Microsoft data solutions. We have also the Power BI, which you have worked the most through last days with. And I work in APN Promise. So also, if you want to have such stickers, just get in touch with me through email or through the LinkedIn. I would be glad to share it with you. Okay. Let me go further. This one. Oh my God. Okay. So at the beginning, I would be really glad to know what you expect from the session, and to let you know, like briefly, I treat Microsoft Fabric as a kind of football team. So imagine that you have the Power BI, which you currently know. You have SQL Server, which is kind of goalkeeper, because that's the place where you gather the data. We have also, for example, Copilot, which is, the new rising star in the team, becoming the more and more popular, or the AI assistants are the new burning stars. We have also really good players, which shows really good quality, like data warehouses. So all of them create one big team, and the data which we would gather and then process is all used in the attack through Power BI or AI agents. So Fabric is actually the tool which combines the whole process of data processing in one software. So that's the main idea behind it. And our topic today is the reduction of capacity of Fabric. So if you have right now any expectations, like questions about Fabric itself, about the capacity, what it is, I would be glad to show it. So please scan the QR code. I would also paste the link in the chat, and please let me know what you think about it. Unfortunately, I can't paste anything, so you need to scan it and let me know if it works. Are you with me? Do you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Guys,
yeah.
if you want to talk,
can
you
hear
can
you.
unmute yourself.
What?
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, if they
okay.
want to talk, they can unmute themselves. Yeah.
Yes. So please, if you have any ideas, please scan the QR code and tell me. And let's go to the agenda. So we have already made a short introduction.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Did you put the link in the chat?
Unfortunately, the chat is blocked. I can't put anything there. So maybe let me try.
Okay.
I can copy that, but unfortunately the chat is not available. I can't paste anything there. So yeah, so the best would be if you can scan it with your phone. I think that I see that there are some answers appearing.
I think you can paste something there because you are a speaker.
No, it's written that I can't, sir. I don't know why.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's doing like that though.
So you are interested in Microsoft Fabric. You are interested about the capacity. Okay. So there are a few things which we can cover. I would focus, because we have like more than 30 minutes, I will focus on the most important ones. And the first of FinOps, I would briefly tell you what is it, like financial operations. Then I would really briefly tell you about the monitoring with the Fabric Capacity Metrics app. So as I mentioned you, Fabric is a tool which includes Power BI. It also includes other tools for data processing. And in order to know how much it costs, we need to monitor it. I will tell you also about shuffling, because sometimes it's happened that your need for data processing is bigger than the capacity of Fabric, which means the compute power which you have available. And I will then briefly tell about best practices in sizing Fabric SKU. I think that if you worked only with Power BI, it might be a bit advanced for you, but just ask me questions. Meantime, don't hesitate to do it. I would be pleased to explain. I would also show quickly a dry principle, which is a principle of writing like good quality code in Fabric. So about the FinOps. So the FinOps is kind of methodology created by the FinOps Foundation, and the idea behind it is to be sure that you control the finance of your resources on Azure, or specifically in our case related to Fabric. And also it includes some collaboration between the finance and engineering to make it transparent for both sides. So you as engineer, you prepare some assets, for business people, and they wish to know for what they pay for. So that's the main idea behind FinOps. And in order to know that, like what services, what resources are used for what purpose, we can monitor it. And that's something which I wish to focus on today. So we can use Power BI reports for different purposes. One of them is measuring capacity metrics. So in Fabric, there is something like capacity. That's a kind of service which you buy in order to have compute power on Azure. We can have many of them in Fabric, like dividing specific part of our environment and payment related to it. And here you have a view of such Fabric Capacity Metrics app, when we can measure what is like how much of that we use and what are the operations which are done on our Fabric environment. And you need to know that in Power BI and in Fabric, there are two types of activities. One type is a background activity, background capacity unit utilization, which refers to all the operations which are performed in the background, which doesn't include your direct actions. So for example, when data is refreshed or reloaded, or some machine learning model is calculating something in the background in order to deliver to the report the highest quality data, it is called the background operations. And over it, there are interactive operations. They include a wide range of user-initiated actions, like, for example, filtering, which you probably already learned on the bootcamp, like what else? It could be, for example, reloading report, loading data in like almost real time to the report. So all of that is called interactive capacity units utilization. Because another thing, what are capacity units? So in Fabric, we decide like how big our solution is. According to that, how many capacity units it has. So if you have a computer, you decide like you have, for example, specified number of RAM, right? Like 8 gigabytes of RAM. Or the storage amount in terabytes or also gigabytes. And here we have capacity units. And that's exactly the same, something similar to RAM in your computers. We have also interactive and background non-billable actions, which are all the actions related to features which are in preview. So it means they are not generally available. They are kind of testing functionalities, so you don't pay for them, but you can use them still to test them. And there is also autoscale, because there are something like notebooks. I don't know, have you ever used Python notebooks? Do you know what it is?
I know a little bit about Python, but Python notebook, not really familiar.
Okay, so so Python is a programming language, and that's really cool language because it can be executed like partially. So you can, for example, run one part of the program, test the result, and run the second part of the program. And many operations in Fabric, which is just like this umbrella, the football team, which is Power BI part of, includes also notebooks. So in order to deliver good quality data to Power BI, first of all, we process it often with Python language in notebooks. So they are like, you just write their Python code to make the data cleaner for Power BI. And that's autoscale is actually let us make the compute power bigger for these notebooks. So the operations which are happening there, which are usually quite heavy, which are more energy consuming, more power consuming, they can go even faster. So that's what I told you about. And we have here also 100%, which is the limit of our capacity. And the thing is that sometimes it's happened that when you use your Power BI, your Fabric in cloud, you even require more like compute power than you have. And in such cases, there are such peaks like on this image, you see. So we used much more power than we could. And it's happened. And that's not really bad thing, because sometimes it's happened and we still want to have our environment working pretty well. So because of that, we have such mechanism which let us use which let us use the compute power from the future. And that's because we could talk about cloud, because all of that solution which I'm talking about, also Power BI, I guess you have right now only the Power BI locally on your desktop, but it can be also run in Azure. So when it is used in the production, in big environments, it's usually used on cloud. So because of that, cloud is flexible. We can say that, okay, now I need more power and I will pay for it a bit later. And Azure, in this case, the cloud is fine with it. So that's the bursting, which means that we can use some power right now and pay. So this is like over our available capacity, and just we can use it later as this blue line in next 24 hours. So we pay for it in next 24 hours. And here you have an example from my environment. so I used a lot of compute power in one moment, but then it was reduced by the compute power from the near future. So because of that, overall, I wasn't throttled, so my system was still working smoothly. And okay, so actually we can skip it. It's actually something like, because like in this environment, system also let us know if some operations are consuming much more this compute power than in the last week. So something is happened. Because of some reason, right now it consumes more energy, and because of that, there's lines in our items of operations are becoming orange or red. So it means that it's higher than in the last week. So it's kind of like warning. And we can exactly check what's the reason of such usage. This time is a data set scheduled refresh. Okay, so right now I will tell you briefly about throttling, but maybe so. As I told you, it can still happen that your solution would have some delays. It won't work as smoothly as you expect. And in big enterprises with this or cloud solution, it's happened pretty often that the business user are coming to engineers saying, hey, like my report is loading really slowly, like what's going on, why it's happened. So it's happened when when we are opening reports with large number of items or data. It can accuse that this interactive, like user accused actions are really power consuming. I don't know if you have already wrote any DAX query. Do you know what's DAX?
Yeah, learning about that like right now.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of language in Power BI when you can write some functions which calculate for you some metrics, like generally speaking, and you can write them in different manner, like always with programming. You can do it efficiently or inefficiently. And if it's done inefficiently, for example, you generated some DAX query with ChatGPT and it's not, the best quality which you can expect, and then it can also accuse inefficiency. So that's always a place to check in your Power BI if it's written well or not. Also, in Power BI, you have functionality to export data to Excel, because some users are more familiar with Excel than Power BI. But it's also quite like power capacity consuming. It's often happen that in the same time, users are using Power BI. So for example, especially in the morning in companies. So it's 9 a.m., everyone are starting work, everyone are opening their reports and they wish to see what's going on. For example, in production company, what's the current stock of assets in the production? And if there is so many simultaneous users, we have this peak, which I shown you before. And if it takes more than 5 minutes, then we have an interactive delay. So first kind of warning that something is going wrong, that our capacity is not efficient enough. And you will see such view with loading the report. Another more complicated case when your capacity is throttling for longer than 60 minutes, you will receive interaction rejection. So you will see a note, unable to load the model due to reaching capacity limits. It means that like the problem is more complicated and it requires definitely some action. Don't happen next time, because like capacity over limit for more than 60 minutes is already a lot. Up to 10 minutes, it's acceptable, but over 60 minutes, it's definitely too much. And there is background rejection, which when we are experiencing interactive rejection effects, which is happen when your organization capacity is exceeded limits for more than 24 hours. It's really rare. I have never seen it. We are joking that it can only happen if your Power BI administrator would go for holidays. So then he may not notice that something is wrong before this 24 hours. Yeah, so here you see the sample of such throttling when the usage is over the capacity limit, which I mentioned you about. And that's an example which I shown you before. And here you have an example of such interactive delays on my environment. You see that actually like none of them happened in my environment. I haven't reached more than 50% of my capacity, so I'm pretty safe. Here you have an example of interactive rejection. It also didn't happen. And background rejection, which are almost more rare, as I mentioned you. So in order to manage such workspaces, we need to somehow plan how to drive with it. And going deeper into the capacity measurements, which I mentioned you about, you can check like what's going on with this in these peaks. So for example, here you can see that we had a peak which used like 50% of our total capacity usage. So that's a lot. It's calculated for, it's in total, it gives us 750 capacity unit seconds. That's a kind of other metrics which we have here. And that's a really good like way of figuring out how big capacity, how big environment you should use and buy creating such solution. So here you have an instruction how to go into it with the time point detail to check it out on my environment as I did it. And we see here that it was reaching one limit in capacity units was 1090-20. And for each capacity unit, we have dedicated capacity units per 30 seconds because that's how we measure the usage of the capacity units. So in the first example, we have a note that we have 749 capacity unit seconds. So we should definitely buy size of capacity in Fabric, like, you know, that engine, power engine to process data in size of F32. Because if we would buy a smaller one, probably we would have a throttling, which I talked to you about before. So the solution would go slower and even we won't be able to use it. In the second example over there, we had capacity units per second in 3000. So for this one, we would probably need to buy F128 to don't be over it. But you also can see that it's happened only in as a one peak. So we have some, I showed you before that for such small cases, we can use bursting and smoothing to smooth that usage in the whole day. So even if such small peak would happen, we still can smooth it for the whole day. But if the peaks are more regular, if all the time we have the usage above our limit, in this, for example, image 64 capacity units, then we definitely need to do something like buy bigger capacity. Okay. So let's go further. Okay, so now some tips and tricks how to figure it out, how to deal with such peaks of usage, because they will always happen, as I shown you. Sometimes in the morning when people are starting to use their reports, sometimes during the night, because usually all the heavy calculations we do at night in order to don't use problems for reading data in Power BI reports for users. So, so if your capacity is throttled, so nothing would happen if you don't hit one of the throttling tabs, which I told you about: interactive delay, interactive rejection, or background rejection. But if you do, then we need to add some compute power. And there are a few approaches to do it. First approach, you as data engineers, as business analysts, like data analysts, you should create your solution in Power BI, for example, with the best practices. So that's why it's important to learn about Power BI, how to do it efficiently, because it will definitely use the capacity consumption. So your boss or the company you work for would pay less for it. So definitely, like, try to learn, trying to gain new knowledge in order to avoid such problematic stuff. But of course, it's time consuming. Always learning is time consuming, and it can be difficult. I hope you understand what I'm talking about, and it's not too difficult, but yeah, learning it's not easy. So another way is to just scale up, as we talked about. So we started with the, for example, F32. We noticed that it's not enough. So we just scale up to the bigger environment, which is, for example, F64. It's quite easy to do. You just scale up in Azure. You add new capacity units for all the items which you have in your environment. It increased the cost as well, unfortunately. And it doesn't solve the problem at all, because still you saw the peaks. And if the peaks are taking longer than 10 minutes, there are such bad actors which still cause a problem, even if we have more space. So another approach is to provide isolated capacity for key items built by experienced developers, which means that some items you put in one capacity, another in another capacity. For example, you put production solution in one and development test solution in another capacity. So if these items would be bigger than the capacity which they have available, it won't affect our production solution. Another approach is to have some tryout test capacities. So you make new functionality, you make new reports, new DAX, and before putting them in production, you first put them in the test capacity, which would be pay as you go. There's pay as you go and reservation. I won't explain you that, you will learn soon. So we create additional capacity only for that. And we test if this new functionality or the workflows or the data flows which we create in Power Query, for example, if they will fit the capacity which we gave it. If it does, it's fine. We just send it further to the main production environment, adding this capacity units to it. If not, we optimize it and we try again. So that's another option. And we can also do similar like we did before. So you give the small capacity for your new items and you check the peaks, like how big they are growing. And according to that, you decide how big capacity you should add to your production environment. We can also have something like rescue capacity. So in case our solution would grow rapidly, we have another capacity on Azure, another machine, which is paused, so it's not used. And in case our production environment is really throttling a lot, we can replace this rescue capacity for a little bit of time to don't cause users any problem. And then we work to solve the problem using previous methods. And we move back to the original capacity, making the rescue capacity switched off again. So here are all the recommendations to savings costs using Fabric, using Power BI on Azure. First of all, invest in education, what you currently do. Second of all, use good quality data, models, data sets. In Power BI, you can certify them. So you can say to users, this data set, this report is good quality. I'm saying that as data engineer or data analyst, and you give it a stamp. You can use this multi-capacity strategies, which I mentioned you. You can right size your capacity using the methods which I mentioned you. And always try to choose the right tool for the job which needs to be done, like following the new features which are becoming available in Azure, because more and more functionalities, more optimized are appearing. So the last thing which I wish to show you is dry, don't repeat yourself solution. So I mentioned to you about notebooks. That's a general rule of programming. So any of you is a software programmer, software developer? And do you know maybe what are packages, libraries, like in Python and other language?
Well, yeah, a little bit.
Great. So the idea is that when you write some code, it's really useful to don't repeat it. Even in DAX that appeared the functionality like 2 weeks ago, that you can create some classes, some pieces of code, which you reuse. So you don't write them again and again, but you have them separated, and you share that module to all your reports, all your code, all your programs which you make. So it's really important because, first of all, it ensures us that the quality of that piece of code is high and other users, other of your colleagues can use it. And also, if you need to somehow change it, you just change it in one place. And In order to do it, we collect all the functionalities, all the functions which are repetitive in Python in this case, and we build a file which is called a wheel. It's kind of ready-to-use library made by ourselves. And that library we put in the environment in Fabric. It's like custom libs. It's like kind of shelf for your bookshelf for your packages of code. And each notebook can use that package from that bookshelf. So as I mentioned, because of that, we have the functions as extracted to one part from different pieces of code. We can version and test it in this place and publish and attach it to other solutions which we create. So yeah, so that's actually all the things which I created for you. I hope that it was kind of useful for you. I mean, maybe a little bit advanced, but like learning more and more, I hope that one day you will notice that, Jakub one day taught us about it at the beginning. Now I understand and I connected the dots. So I hope that it would be like that. And I also created you a questionnaire at the end, a survey. So if you just tell me like what you think about the session, what you would change in it, what can be improved, what was done nice, what you liked, what you dislike. I would be really glad for that. And as I mentioned, you can add me on LinkedIn. So we would be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jakub. It was simple, it was straightforward section. I don't know if anybody has questions. You can probably ask him. Don't forget to connect with Jakub on LinkedIn. I'm going to share his LinkedIn link now so you can connect with him. You know, as a community, it's important for us to connect with people who we are looking up to, who are doing the same thing that we are doing. You know, you can learn from them, you connect with them, you see their posts, and you know, just for sometimes relationship and you know, also for connection. So, guys, if you don't have any questions, then we can call it a day. Then probably we'll continue again next week until the end of October. Thank you so much, Jakub, for coming today.
Yes.
Really appreciate it.
I really recommend you to use such platforms like LinkedIn to follow people, because you know the easiest way to find a job always is to be recommended. So it's really good to be in the community, to be together, to support each other, because one day, like you know, someone would look for data analysts like you.
Exactly. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.